What's up guys, and welcome to another YuGiOh Duel Links video. So this is my free-to-play Cyber Dragon deck, and as you can see I'm using the skill known as Master of Fusion. So Master of Fusion basically triggers whenever your life points is cut down by 1000, and it can be used up to twice per duel, and you basically exchange a card from your hand back to the deck and obtain a polymerization from outside of your deck. This is a very helpful feature as well, since we all know Cyber Dragon is a very fusion heavy archetype, which you can see I selected personally of what kind of spell and spell traps I use. So first up, for the monsters, I'm using up to 3 Cyber Dragons, 2 Cyber Dragon Veers, 3 Cyber Dragon Dries, and 2 Cyber Dragon Cores. So for Cyber Dragon Core, as everyone knows, it's a searcher for cyber spell or traps, which means you can actually obtain cyber load fusion once you actually normal summon Cyber Dragon Core. Or Cyber Dragon Dry effect is that it converts all cyber dragons on the field into level 5, which helps you go into the case of wind up Arsenal Zen Mayo. So becoming a level 5, you can basically exceed into this monster, detach a material, target up to 2 set cards on the field, regardless whether it's a monster or a trap that's on your side or your opponent's side of the field, and destroy them. Not to mention, Cyber Dragon Veer's effect is a great support in extra summoning, because once you summon any Cyber Dragon monsters onto the field, you basically special summon this monster in defense position while providing a bonus 500 attack and defense points overall. Next up, for the spell cards, I'm running 1 Overload Fusion, 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, 2 Cyber Load Fusions, and 2 regular polymerizations, because we need to have as much opportunity to fusion into a monster whenever we get the chance to, especially Chimera Attack Rampage Dragon, which is our MVP of the deck. It helps you OTK your opponent as fast as you can. I'm playing 3 counter gates just in case I do not run into any polys, or if I do not run into any monsters that I can actually use as materials, or at least go into fusions and exceeds. That way I can actually help delay it slightly longer so I can survive until the next turn while actually negating an attack and drawing a card. That's basically the defensive strategy for this deck. Next up, for the fusion monsters, I'm running 2 Cyber End Dragons, 2 Chimera Attack Over Dragons, and 1 Chimera Attack Rampage Dragon, and also Arsenal Zen Mayo. So this deck, as you can see, it is very heavy on fusion summoning, as well as a very high offense kind of deck, and very quick pace as well. So the moment you are able to fuse, you should fuse into Cyber Dragon, into a Chimera Attack Rampage Dragon. That way, using its effect to destroy set cards, especially the back row, up to how many materials you use. Not to mention using the effect of milling 2 Cyber Dragon monsters to the graveyard in order to attack up to 3 times. So by attacking up to 3 times, you can basically win the game on the get-go, unless your opponent has a Kiteroid in hand or something that negates at least 1 attack. Then that should be a problem, but do not worry, because even if this monster were to be destroyed, you will still have Overload Fusion in reserve. That way you can basically banish all these monsters, any of the materials that involves a Cyber Dragon, to go into Chimera Attack Over Dragon on the dot. And once that is done, you can basically go for at least about 3000 to 5000 attack points in the bare minimum if you have at least about half of the monsters, and also including Chimera Attack Rampage Dragons if they are banished. And once you finish attacking for that turn, and if you still haven't finished your opponent off, you can basically use Cyber Load Fusion to get all the banished materials that was used for Chimera Attack Over Dragon in that turn, return them to the deck and extra deck in order to bring out another Chimera Attack Over Dragon with a higher attack point, in order to spam your opponent to actually cut down their life points as much as possible and to win the duel. There are certain other options that I've explored, such as using Cyber Knight Overflow in 1 copy along with 1 copy of Cyber Load Fusion. The deck does work in certain aspects, but it's not fast paced enough for my liking or for my taste, so that is why I actually cut it out from my deck. Not to mention, you need to include Double Cyclone as an extra alternative to pop Cyber Knight Overflow to search for Cyber Load Fusion. which in certain cases is not helpful. Not to mention, even if you manage to pop something on your opponent's field, you still have the problem of whether you get to fusion summon something out onto the field at the same time. So as you can see, for spell and trap destruction, we have Cosmic Cyclone, we have Camera Attack Rampage Dragon, we have Wind Up Arsenal YuGiOh on the dot. So we have 3 options of popping a spell trap on the field, along with slight monster destruction from Wind Up Arsenal YuGiOh. Not to mention, we also have Cyber Dragon at 2100 points. It will go up to 2600 points once you have Cyber Dragon Veer on the field, which gives a bonus 500 for every Cyber Dragon on the field as of late. Not to mention, the only defensive strategy for this deck is Counter Gate. So this deck, since I've mentioned, is a full-on offense deck. You need to finish the duel as fast as possible in order to actually OTK your opponent right there. Because that's actually how I play Cyber Dragons in real life. So this is gonna be how I'm gonna play Cyber Dragons in Duel Links. But until then, when some new things do come up, such as a Cyber Dragon structure deck that has been leaked online, but I did not see the contents because I do not want to spoil myself, and I want to share my genuine reactions with every one of you when the structure deck does come out, and I can let you know my thoughts on how it can be added into the deck. Also, for the skills itself, you can use both Master of Fusion and also No Excuses. So No Excuses basically lets you draw into a Power Bond, but this is only when your life points has been cut down to less than 1000, and it's quite situational, to be honest, because the moment you want to activate this skill, this meant that you need to actually OTK your opponent during that turn. If not, Power Bond has a drawback effect of taking damage equal to how much attack was increased for that turn. So imagine your life points were to be less than 1000, and you were to take take damage to how much attack is increased. So seeing that Cyber End Dragon is at 4000, you'll be taking 4000 points of damage, whereas Camera Attack Rampage Dragon is at 2100, and also at Camera Attack Over Dragon, even though it's at 0, I'm not sure whether it has a drawback or not because I have not tested it out for myself, but still most of the time, if you were to do this, it would be optional. It would be the best thing to go into is Cyber End Dragon or Camera Attack Rampage Dragon to have the most attack in one go. Next up, you can also consider Cyber Style, but I do not recommend it as much because if you were to actually already draw out all of your original Cyber Dragon copies from your deck, then you cannot actually use this effect, henceforth rendering this effect useless if you do not have any regular old Cyber Dragons in your hand or your deck left. I mean, it is possible if you were to use like Cyber Lord Fusion to return it from the banished pile or field back to the deck, but it's still quite situational, and your life points is one thing you need to consider if you were to try this out for yourself. And if your opponent were to negate your Power Bond, oh, then you would have 3 Cyber Dragons on the field with 0 attack points, and they cannot attack, so leaving you as an open target overall. Not to mention, I did consider using Draft and Slide. Draft and Slide is quite effective if you do not have enough monsters in your deck, or if your deck is like heavily dependent on spell and traps. That way, Draft and Slide at least helps you draw into a Cyber Dragon or a Cyber Dragon monster that allows you to fuse for that turn. Anyways, that's it for my free-to-play Cyber Dragon deck, and if you want to try this deck out for yourself, go ahead. And you can explore different options on increasing the draw engine for this deck, such as Card of Sanctity, but I do not recommend that. Instead, I recommend using Into the Void to draw an extra card, since at the beginning of your turn, you'll definitely have more than 3 cards in your hand. And when you draw into one, use this effect and draw into another card, you'll be definitely going for a very high speed play into fusion summoning something for that turn and leaving your hand empty. But that is the case when you play this kind of like fast-paced Cyber Dragon OTK kind of deck. Anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys try this deck out for yourself and see how it performs, and let me know in the comments below if it does perform well or not. And because this is something this is the deck I actually play in real life, so yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this entire archetype on its own. And if the structure deck is actually official and it does really come out within the month of December or January, then expect a Cyber Dragon updated deck coming soon. That's it, thank you, goodbye, stay safe and keep dueling.